Welcome everybody to the Fantasy Football Endgame. Big shout out to our Endgame community, our loyal viewers. Thanks for coming back. And to those who are new to our channel, welcome. Don't forget to hit subscribe on the way out. We're going to go through ADP, preseason ADP right now, as it is fantasy draft season, to talk about our favorite picks for every round. We're going to base this off a 10-team league using ESPN's live draft results. So let's get right into it. Round one, who's your favorite pick?
Saquon Barkley. I know everybody I talk to about Saquon Barkley says, oh, too risky, coming off injury. Well, if you haven't heard, he was activated off of PUP on Monday. He's back at practice. Now, he's not 100% Saquon Barkley yet, but that's already a huge step in the right direction. Even if this guy is limited week 1, week 2, it's okay because those weeks hardly even matter. You can go 0-1. You can even go 0-2 and still make your playoffs and win the championship with Saquon Barkley. So for me, absolute must draft in the first round.
Yeah, I'm going to go a little less risky here. Look, maybe it's playing it too safe, saying I'd rather have the number 1 or 2 pick in the draft, but I think it does make a huge difference, especially if you don't have a third round reversal. So talking about the number 1 pick, it's got to be Christian McCaffrey. I'll say I like the number 2 pick because I feel just as good with Dalvin Cook. We've seen there's no more questions, injuries, contract, the offense, nothing. He is rock solid. And you know what? You get that pick on the way back just a little earlier than with CMC. I'm not saying there's question marks with McCaffrey or Carolina, but you know, Sam Darnold, is he going to have a good effect on that team? I don't know. But you know what? I feel really good with the number 2 pick. And to me, I want that number 2 pick in Dalvin Cook. All right, now what about round 2?
Well, this is another running back I love, and that's Austin Ekeler. And, you know, surprised to see him in the second round of these ESPN drafts. But if he's there in the second round, I'm grabbing him every time. I've already talked about him. I think he's got league-winning potential, top 5 upside for sure. In a PPR format like this, in a 10-team league, starting running back, getting Austin Ekeler in the second round every time.
Yeah, if Eckler's there in round 2, really hard to pass up. A lot of times those running backs go off the board early and often. In round 2, a lot of times I'll be getting my first receiver, and it's kind of hard to believe that Calvin Ridley is going toward the back end of round 2. He has a legitimate shot at finishing as the wide receiver 1 overall in fantasy. I really believe that. I also believe that about DK Metcalf. You know this is tough for me, Chris. It's between those two guys. Love DK. But I actually think Calvin Ridley is probably the better pick here. And so I love having him as my number 1 wideout. All right, moving on to round 3. Who's your best pick in this round?
Yeah, a lot of good wide receivers in this range, but I'm okay grabbing a tight end here, and that's Darren Waller, who basically is a wide receiver playing the tight end position. He is the Raiders' number 1 wide receiver, essentially. 108 catches last year. I think in a 10-team league like this, getting one of those elite tight ends is huge. So if Darren Waller is there in the third, got to grab him.
Agree with that. A lot of times Kelsey's going in the first round, which is totally understandable, but why not take Waller 2 rounds later and you get very similar value? I think that's a smart move. If I'm going receiver in round 3, though, which I probably am, Keenan Allen there, I think is an absolute steal. And it depends. We're talking PPR, right? PPR has kind of become the standard here. You play in a league where every catch gets you something. Keenan Allen is kind of the biggest kind of swingman in terms of that format because, look, in a PPR format last year, he finished as a wide receiver 7 in fantasy. In a standard non-PPR league, he was wide receiver 14. So that would knock him down at least a round or 2. But since we're talking PPR, I think having him as my second receiver and a round 3 pick is really, really good. All right, what about the 4th round?
Yeah, again, a lot of wide receivers in this range, but you know, I really am targeting the Rams offense this year as much as I can. I have Robert Woods a little bit ahead of Kupp, and he is going ahead of Cooper Kupp in these drafts, so I will gladly take Robert Woods in the 4th round.
Yeah, don't be afraid of receivers where they have competition for targets because it's a prolific offense. Likewise, Dallas, you got 3 good receivers, one of the best wide receiver trios in the league. There's room for all of them to feed. Now, between Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb, you'll see those two kind of go interchangeably. Just depends on who likes who better. I'm taking CeeDee Lamb. I prefer him slightly. I really think he's going to take a step forward his second year, potentially be a top 10 receiver. And again, in PPR, he's going to be more of a target hog and there's no injury risk like Cooper has. So if CeeDee Lamb is falling to me this far, I'm definitely grabbing him. All right, on to round 5. Who's next?
Well, you know I'm all about that injury risk, and I'm going to take Amari Cooper here. I'm going to take I love CeeDee Lamb. I think he's going to have a huge year, but I think Cooper's going to have a huge year as well. So I'll take the 1-round discount, and I'll take Amari Cooper here because, again, kind of like the Rams, this Dallas Cowboys offense is going to be great for fantasy. So I'll take a piece of it in round 5.
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to argue between those receivers. You take the one who falls farther, right? You're getting better value. That goes for a lot of these kind of wide receiver trios that you see. So let's speak of another one. That's Tampa Bay. 3 really, really good receivers, potentially, well, Hall of Famer Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, who knows, could be on his way. Chris Godwin, the youngest of them, could be the lead receiver there. I'm taking Chris Godwin here. I really think that he's going to bounce back. Last year, a little disappointing, but speaking of injuries, he had that injured pinky, COVID, missed a couple of games, never really was in the groove. I think if he falls this far, it's a crime. You've got to take him. He's, to me, the best bargain in this round. All right, let's keep it rolling. We're on round 6 now. Who's your 6th round best pick?
Another wide receiver, this time out of Pittsburgh, Deontay Johnson. Another PPR monster, right? A guy who definitely has more value in PPR than standard scoring formats. Target hog, 144 targets last year. Going into that 3rd year, typical breakout age, I can see him eclipsing 1,000 yards, potentially hitting double-digit touchdowns. And if you watched our league-winning wide receiver video, I have him as a potential league winner. So take Deontay Johnson all day in the 6th round.
Definitely. You notice a lot of receivers going this range because most of the top running backs have been taken early, and there's a lot of question marks with those left. So at this point, why not secure a tight end? I've always said you either take one early and get a top 3 guy, or you might as well wait. Well, you know what? To me, TJ Hawkinson is a top 3 tight end. I really think he's going to join that kind of big 3 this year. He's going to be the main target in Detroit because that wide receiver group is it's a little suspect, right? And Jared Goff is going to throw the ball a lot just out of necessity. So I love Hawkinson. I love his value. Getting him in round 6, you don't have to spend, one of those really early round picks to get a guy like Kittle or Kelsey. And I think that Hawkinson here is a smart pick. I'm making it every time. Okay, round 7. Let's keep going.
Yeah, finally pivoting back to running back. It's a rookie running back. It's Travis Etienne. I know there's some risk here that James Robinson may take touches away from him, but look, we're in round 7. We're shooting for a home run. If Etienne takes control of this backfield, he will be a league winner this year. I'm willing to take that risk in round 7.
Yeah, at this point, you can take a little bit of risk. You know what? Going back to running back as well, I'm going with somebody who has a lot of upside, not just as the number 2 running back on his team, but we've seen him handle the load, and that's Kareem Hunt. So this is a guy who has standalone value. It's very rare you see a guy who's the 2nd running back on his team that you can play a week-to-week basis and feel really good about it. But again, the thing with Etienne and Hunt, at this point, you're getting guys that are pass catchers. So you have that floor each and every week. Again, PPR, that's a must. You have to have a guy who kind of has that in his repertoire. All right, we're on to round 8. Who do you think is the best pick in this range?
Another injury discount. I love those injury discounts. It's Courtland Sutton of the Broncos. I know there's question marks with the QB play, but 2 years ago with horrible QB play, he put up almost 1,200 yards and almost 10 touchdowns. I think actually Drew Lock is very good for Courtland Sutton because he's a big receiver. He's a great contested catch receiver. He doesn't need the ball to be put on him, right? He can go up and get it anywhere. Whereas Jerry Jeudy is a great route runner, get separation. But if the ball's not there, he's not the type of guy that's going to go up and just, be able to get it, a big body guy like Sutton. So I actually really like Courtland Sutton this year a lot, especially with Drew Lock looking like the starter, at least early.
Yeah, Sutton in the end might wind up being a kind of Allen Robinson-esque, a big body receiver who will catch the ball no matter who's throwing it in his general direction. So gotta like Sutton. I like T. Higgins in this range as well because Joe Burrow is going to be a gunslinger. Again, out of necessity. There's a ton of targets to go around. Everybody's all over Jamar Chase, who is taken ahead of T. Higgins. I don't get it. Higgins is going to be the number 1 receiver in that offense. I almost guarantee that. And Chase is already looking a little shaky, as far as training camp goes. It's going to take him some time, all right? It will not take Burrow and Higgins any time to get acclimated to each other because they already had that last year. So I love taking Higgins here. It's amazing that I can get him a lot of times in drafts as my 4th receiver. I really think he could be a top 25 receiver easily in fantasy. All right, we're on to round 9. Who do you think is the best pick in this range?
Another running back, another rookie running back, and that's Javonte Williams again. We're hearing that Melvin Gordon is going to be the starter, but look, you're not drafting a running back in round 9 to play every week early in the season. You're drafting him to come in late in the season and help you win a fantasy championship, and that's what I think Williams will do. Whether Gordon is a starter or not, I think eventually Williams will take over this backfield, and similar to Jonathan Taylor last year, he'll come on down the stretch and win people championships.
Definitely agree. Look, there's not a lot of running backs I love in this range. Javonte Williams is the one. Other than that, I'm comfortable waiting. I'll wait a little bit later and take a chance on another guy, maybe one of those rookies. And a lot of people pulling the trigger on quarterbacks here. I'm not. I'm stocking up on receivers again. I really like Laviska Shenault. His chances of being the number 1 guy in Jacksonville. I think that offense will surprise some people with how good it is. Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be a generational quarterback. If so, you want his receivers. And all those 3 guys right now, I feel the best about Shenault. Definitely a talented receiver. As long as he stays healthy, sky's the limit for him. All right, and then our last pick here. Let's go 10 rounds deep. So who do you think is the best value in the 10th round?
Going back to wide receiver, it's my boy, Curtis Samuel of the football team. I've talked him up a lot this offseason, but this is one of the most efficient wide receivers in the league. He only played 62% of snaps last year. He's going to play way more than that this year. He's going to be a huge part of this football team offense. And he's got Ryan Fitzpatrick throwing him the ball, who has been nothing but great for fantasy wide receivers. So love Curtis Samuel this late.
Definitely love Curtis Samuel. I'm going to finish up with a tight end here. This is probably the last of the tight ends I feel comfortable taking. Unless I'm just going to wait basically and be the last guy to take a tight end. We've talked a lot about the Denver offense and some of the players who are really great values, and Noah Fant fits that bill. He is one of the most athletic tight ends out there. He has that big play, yak ability. There's somebody who can take it to the house. And I really think regardless of who is the quarterback there, he's going to have a nice season. So at this point, still within the top 100, take Noah Fant and you won't be disappointed. All right, those are our best picks for each and every round. Stay with us here all off season long. Our goal is to help you win and crush your draft. All right, thanks for watching.